Doing a little bit of a different pre-market prep here this morning. Got M, my good friend M, with me here from Edgeful. What's up, M? If you can maybe just introduce yourself. I know the guys should know you are, but for those that are watching in the Discord, just give them a little bit of an intro. Then we'll get into some stuff what we're seeing today.
Yeah, nothing crazy on the intro side. I appreciate you having me. I'm excited for this. Kind of see how other people are getting ready for their day, and maybe toss in some of my thoughts, kind of what I'm looking at, just getting different perspectives. There's so many ways to use these Edgeful data reports. There really are. So I'm excited to kind of share thoughts with each other, and just I'm just a trader. I don't really have like a big fancy intro or anything. Like JB, you know me. I'm just a trader. I host a lot of spaces on X, obviously, and I've been using Edgeful for over a year now. So that's my short intro. I'm just a trader.
No, I love it. Yeah, actually, Em, I was actually speaking at a finance talk in Cape Town actually the other day, and all these other guys had like big fancy intros, and I was like, I don't have a big fancy intro. It's not exciting like you guys. I'm just an independent trader, dude. I trade for myself. That's what I do.
Just trading candles.
I don't work for a hedge fund. I don't work for a big bank, But yeah, okay. Always good to have you on, and with me. I think we're going to be doing a little bit more of these. So I appreciate you guys that are joining in on the Edgeful Discord. For those that don't know, they may actually make us a little bit smaller here. We haven't. It's the first time I'm streaming live with multiple people over there. So let's put us a little bit smaller. So there we go. So you guys can see the full Edgeful back end here. And if you come over here to the right-hand side, join our Discord over there on the Edgeful website. That's where you actually can get access to the free Edgeful chat. And then obviously if you have the algos, you can get that there too. If you want to get the free trial for Edgeful, before we get into a couple of reports, a couple of markets, over here, the link in my bio on, if you're watching this on my Twitter, on YouTube, you can all get it there as well, down over here to the Edgeful section. It should get you that 7-day free trial if you have not tried it out before. Okay, so let's get into a few things this morning. I'm going to speak about a few things on the charts. I've actually been focused mainly on the DAX this week. I've had quite a few nice opportunities, namely on Monday, and on the shorts actually on Monday, and then obviously we end up rallying. The whole indexes have been rallying this whole week. This is the 50-minute time frame that I'm on at the moment. But let's go over to SPX cash. I'll trade the cash index of it. What any trades that you've had on this? Yesterday I actually took funny enough, I actually took a nice long on Tuesday on stream, and then I took two nice shorts here yesterday on stream as well on Thursday. So quite a nice day there. On Wednesday, I end up taking a loss on trying to trade the NASDAQ, which I don't really trade too often, but end up trying to short the NASDAQ and took a loss on that. But how's your week been so far?
Yeah, yesterday was amazing day. It was a big day, probably one of the biggest days I've had.
Nice.
I feel like lately it's been like I'm pulling teeth to make a little bit of money. Like I feel like I'm battling. I just feel like I've been battling the last, I don't know, probably week or so. Yesterday, just one of those days, James, I know you've had a couple of these too yourself in your career where just like you enter a trade and it just works out like 3-4 times in a row, just like you're just lightning in a bottle type of day. It was interesting though. Yesterday I was shorting Q after the morning news. So whenever we had that like Trump Xi call news popped out in the morning, we came up into an area that I was interested in, and I just started falling back down. We had a gap fill going into the open. So like first thing I looked at, it was a high probability gap fill. Gap was small. I love that gap fill by size. It's one of the ones I use.
Nice. Let's bring that up here. Yeah. If you can actually also share your screen here on Restream, then we can get that up on for the guys who are watching on social media as well. Because I know you guys can watch in the Discord. M and R screens, but there we go. Let's go like this. Let's add M screen there. Yeah, so let's speak about. There we go. Now we can see both of our screens. How's that? Let's get your stream up here. Though we got yours. Let's show. If you can just show them the gap for what we're talking about in terms of that play, the gap for play.
Yeah. So one of the things that I do, I don't know how much you do this, but maybe it's a little bit different. But I trade futures off of QQQ and SPY charts more than anything. I know those charts like the back of my hand. I know, so I chart NQ and ES, but you have a drift over the time period. So to me, the underlying SPX, NDX, or QQQ and SPY are a lot easier for me to trade, pay attention to the stats. I just feel like the futures are going to follow what they're based off of. That's my theory there. So I look at QQQ and SPY stats all the time. Now the gap fill stats, if we go in here to
and
QQQ,
just to clarify that, correct me if I am wrong, because again, I'm not working for a hedge fund. But QQQ and SPY are the options, right? The options tickers, and then obviously SPX and NDX are the cash indexes, and then ES and
Correct.
NQ are the futures contracts. And across all of them, you will see a little bit of differential, right? Am I correct in saying that?
Yes. So the actual underlying is the SPX or NDX. That's the actual
that's what I trade
themselves.
And that's what I trade, being a cash index trader, CFD trader. Yep.
Correct. And then SPY and QQQ are just ETFs. So
yes,
they're the largest ETFs in the world, essentially.
Correct.
Like that's what they are. Most people, it's more liquid to trade SPY with options, with even people buy commons. Most of the time, people are buying, if they're just buying the indice, they're buying the S&P, they're buying the NASDAQ, they're buying SPY or QQQ. But it's just, I really pay attention to how these go. Now, coming into yesterday on QQQ, let me see where we're at. That's today. There we go, right here. We had a gap down here that was pretty small. This was previous day's range. Let me see. I'm trying to remember what the size was.
Yeah, you could. But basically, essentially, what the report that M is basically referring to is if the gap is smaller, it's more likely to be filled, right?
Correct. And so that's what I'm doing. If you see my screen here, if you go to your gap fill reports, I'm on QQQ, and I check QQQ and SPY every morning. But if you go to your gap fill report and under sub report by size, you'll notice some crazy differences. That the size of that gap makes such a big difference. So the first category is 0 to 0.19%. Yesterday it was 0.26. So it was in this category here, 0.26 when you measure it out. But even then, it was on the bottom side of this range even. So I kind of like almost blend these at times. Like if this is 0.39, maybe I put a little less like filling into it. But just for the simplicity of this, we had a 0.26 or so was the gap. If we gap up that size, 62% of the time, we're going to come down and fill it.
Yeah.
62%. I mean, that's more times than not. So if you take this trade 10 times, 6 times or more, it's going to play out for you. So that was kind of the first piece. And actually, if you throw SPY up here as well, SPY also had a gap.
Yeah. So
here's the SPY gap fill.
Yeah, 76%. There we go.
Yeah. So SPY. So just to finish up, SPY had a 76% chance. So even a stronger stat. So I was looking at both, going, hey, we have 2 small gaps here. Both have pretty strong, especially SPY has a very strong, when it gaps up, it's going to come down and fill that gap. That's based on the close from the previous session. So based on, this was Wednesday's close going into yesterday morning's open.
So yes, that's the easiest way to explain the gap fill. The gap, because obviously the stock market only trades open hours, obviously it's pre-market and post-market, but from 9:30 a.m. Eastern time till 4 p.m. Eastern time. The difference between, as M said, the close and then the next morning's open is that gap fill. Either going to gap down or gap up, of course. Okay, so let's speak about, I just wanted to speak about a few things in the market. Obviously, Tesla, this morning up again 4.4%. But yesterday, absolutely mammoth day. The last couple of days on Tesla, we're just coming out to the daily time frame on Tesla. Let me actually get my screen up here again. Let's go like this. There we go. So we can actually see that from that high there that we back down 22%. So pretty hectic movement here on Tesla, obviously with the stuff that's happening with Elon and Trump, which is quite funny on Twitter. And obviously that's going to factor in. But I think all in all, I wanted to speak about a little bit of a report with Tesla. Something that I've seen really, particularly on the tech stocks, works really nicely is this opening candle continuation plan. I like using it, particularly also even on the DAX index, which I trade in the London session. it tends to hold a nice weighting with this report as well. So this opening candle continuation report, essentially, guys, what this does is basically the first hour of the open. So from 9:30 to 10:30, if it is bullish, we want to be looking for longs. If it is bearish, we want to be looking for shorts based on historical data. We can see in the last 6 months on Tesla, if the first hour is bullish, 77% of the time will close as a bullish closing day. So above the open price, and vice versa for the shorts, 71% of the time. And then if you actually come, now you always need to come and look in like recent times as well. Look at this in the last 3 months. Look at this, 88% for longs and 64% for shorts. Now, if you look even the last 1 month, so that's the shortest time frame you can look at it, 87 and 77. I mean, that's some pretty good stats there. You could literally actually have a simple strategy of like, dude, if the first hour is bullish, I'll place a buy with my stop underneath the open price. And if it's the first hour is bearish, place a short with a stop above the open price.
Yeah, I use this report every single day on the indices. So when I look at oh, sorry, I forgot to unmute for Discord. No, so I use this report every single day. When I get the first hour of the market finished, I immediately, I'm going to this report. I'm looking at my IB reports and I'm figuring things out. When I see something like this, so you were showing Tesla. I look at this. I almost know these stats. They do change a little bit over time, and it's actually been getting stronger. The NQ stats, so the Nasdaq stats on this right now are 80% as well. Yeah, and I know that like the back of my hand. And so I'm just looking to buy dips, or I'm not going to fight it. If I do get short, I'm shorting it back to like the middle of the range. I'm not looking for that like fly back, right? Like it kind of gets me on the right side of which direction I want to trade. I use this every day. Great report.
Yeah, I think, I love using this report. Even as I said, like on the DAX, it works really, really nicely. As I said, I've actually been pivoting a lot to the DAX more recently. The DAX has actually been up at all-time highs. I enjoy trading the DAX. I think it's a great index to trade. Simply, obviously, also I'm in South Africa, which currently is almost 20 past 2 in the afternoon. So obviously, if sometimes I don't want to be up trading until evening time, my time on ES, right? Most of the times I'm trading either DAX or ES. A little bit of Nasdaq every now and again. But what are your thoughts on picking like two assets to day trade? Right, I'm talking particularly day trading. I'm not talking swing trading or anything like that. I'm saying day trading. What are your thoughts on looking at one or two assets or tickers?
Yeah, so like for me, I'm trading futures on a day-by-day basis, and then I'm more of a swing and equity person when it comes to like individual tickers. However, when there's an opportunity, I'm still a trader at heart, right? So when there's an opportunity, there's an opportunity. So what I do is I look at, okay, what's the chart set up? I go top down, right? So I'm looking at your daily, weekly type of charts that, chart all these things out. And if I see something that's just a short-term catalyst directionally, then I'm interested in that ticker. Maybe I can get in on some nice options for the day. Yesterday, I took actually Palantir puts because we had a catalyst. So that's the second piece, right? There's some type of catalyst going on. Like if we're running up towards earnings, if there's a positive news story, a negative news story, if all of a sudden everyone in the world's like excited about something like Palantir, the way Palantir, I very rarely trade Palantir names like that. But it's just had so much hype that that it's liquid, right? So I could trade that one. Tesla yesterday, as it starts going off the cliff, that one to me is a candidate for something I would trade. And then, like you were showing, I find a candidate and then I'm like, okay, I want to put as many things behind me. Like I want tailwinds behind me. I want my trade to be pushed in the right direction. So now I'm going to check things out. So I'm looking at things like that opening candle continuation report, IB reports, all that stuff almost immediately. Day of the week, a Tesla is one of those that kind of trades on its own thing. I feel like Tesla, and I haven't checked this in a while, but I feel like Tesla is like one of those that has like Tesla Friday or something where it just really moves.
Yeah, it does. Tesla Friday. We're gonna TF. We're gonna start. Tesla. I like that. But yeah, I mean, as I said, like I think from like a long-term, like as you said, like swing perspective, I think it's easier to watch more tickers. But from a day trading perspective, I'm really only looking at the DAX and the S&P. But I think I was actually getting a call from some friends asking if it's a good time to buy Tesla, and I said, dude, I got the same knowledge as you, brother. I don't know, but in terms of any like let's talk about a little bit more intraday stuff right now. What are you seeing in terms of today? Do you think we're going to get a sell-off? We've obviously got NFP numbers coming out in the next 9 minutes. What are you seeing in terms of today levels wise on SPX? Yes.
Okay, so SPX, it's very interesting. I think it's going to be tough. This NFP that's coming out in 9 minutes is going to be very, very interesting. So what I'm looking at, the 6,000 up here, which I don't have it just exactly. I can actually just throw that on my chart real fast. Why not? Right there. So this is what I was watching yesterday. This is where I got short ES when I was watching this yesterday, which, it's the same thing, right? ES, SPX, just the future version. But I had a couple of these levels kind of mapped out because it gets really, if you go back to all this consolidation we had December, like late November, all the way into the fall back in late February, there was a flip point right here in several different areas, weekly charts and everything. But what I'm looking at, this purple I have is the daily 9. This thing has been so resilient. Every time we get down here, we keep holding it. And that's exactly where we finished the day yesterday. So like bottom side, I'm watching that. Top side is that 6,000 for sure. And then you can also even just go to your weekly, look at your weekly highs and lows. I think those are pretty important as well. So if you look at basically your previous week high, this 960, I'm not previous week high, but this consolidation high, 968, this area right here, 942. Yesterday, I also take a quick look on SPX. There's people way smarter than me that look at gamma and all that. 940, 970 and 6,000 yesterday were the big levels as far as gamma goes. So when I was really paying attention to those as we were trading, and if you look, we closed 940. Yeah. 970 was kind of the midpoint throughout the day. If you go to like your intraday chart, and the top was at 6,000. So to me, it's pretty straightforward. Did we reject hard enough off that 6,000 that we come back and maybe back test in the 60s here to these highs and just push back down? It'll be very interesting. This NFP, I have some type of feel of where the chart kind of wants to go, and I just hope that NFP is the catalyst to take us there, and then I get on board if it confirms. I honestly, with the scenario we're in, with all the tariffs and the news headlines, and I just don't know how much. I mean, NFP to me is the biggest data point that we get each month, the first Friday of every month. Of all the times we get that, today I think is one of the most cloudy scenarios. So it'll be very interesting. But I don't know. Yesterday I was more focused on. I usually trade NQ, but yesterday I was more focused on ES because I knew I had that 6,000 level on SPX.
Yeah,
I think. What are your thoughts? Have you looked into the NFP stuff at all, or what
are you
looking at today on SPX?
For me in NFP, I actually wait for it to come out, and then I plan my levels off that, right? So I actually got some levels on S&P that I actually, as I said, made some money shorting over here on this first initial drop. And I actually got a quick little move here before it actually squeezed before the drop off into the afternoon. I missed the afternoon spread. I was super tired, needed to get off the desk. But I had some levels here. We've been kind of in this range since Tuesday's run up, and we actually broke it to the downside. So it's gonna be interesting to see what happens after NFP and what we do get. But yeah, I think in terms of the Edgeful reports, I'll probably be leaning obviously into my opening range plays and then that first hour's play as well. So I think that's probably going to be my play for the rest of the day. But
I do think on the big picture. So like it's hard to tell overnight, but if you look at like your ES, so here was your floor for Tuesday, Wednesday. And then the floor that kind of broke yesterday was holding in the morning. But we're right at the flip point. So you could make a strong, and you see all these, look at all these wicks right here. All of this like rejection right here. This 74 on ES, 75 on ES, which you can see this is the clearest back test. That right there, and I can even extend this further. That to me, this is a massive back test zone. So that's where we are right here. If this rejects now with NFP and starts breaking the structure, I'm going to be playing the short side the whole way through. acceptance back over this area, that's where I would have to look at, hey, this is a reclaim. We may go back to the top of the range. Like as much as I don't want that to happen, I don't think it can happen. I can't ignore it. But if we get above this, reclaim into this, if we do something like this, I've got to try to play that. But I think we're gonna probably flip this into the support into resistance and push down. That's what I'm looking for.
That exact level that you've got drawn up there, that's the exact level that I was trading as well. So as I said, like I think obviously, and for me, like I remember when I used to trade currencies, for numerous years, I actually kind of used to take NFP off and then be like, well, I'll come back afterwards, because it can be NFP can be quite crappy sometimes in terms of like, not in terms of stock plays, but in terms of the currency markets, that market itself. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what we do get. Obviously, as I said, I'm probably going to be looking to trade my all plays, and then also let's go like this, and then also look to trade after the data releases as well. We obviously got the news release now in the next 3 minutes, which we'll sit around to, and then we'll be on for the next. I'm going to head off as soon as the data comes out. I just got another call to get on, but we're going to do more of these every single week, and we're now discussing markets. I think it's quite cool. I think it changes things up from the normal pre-market prep that I have. Hoa, I know you're in the live chat here. How you guys, liking this at the moment? What's up, Ricky? Casper? Yeah, appreciate you guys being on. And then obviously M's going to, be trading. You're going to be trading live as well on the Edgeful social medias after this as well, yeah?
Yeah. So right around market open, I'll be going live. It'll be on all the Edgeful accounts. It'll be on all the Wolf accounts. So I'm right around market open. I usually throw the countdown on there to let people get in and get set up right around that open volatility, and then we set up and go from there. And I'm very interested to see what happens here in 2 minutes.
Yeah, let's go. We got 2 minutes now.
And I love this stream, by the way. Shout out! I saw a couple people over here in the chat. Shout out from South Africa. I'll go learn. Appreciate you. Yeah, we want to do more of these collabs here. I really like this, and we can put our different thought processes together. It just makes us all stronger.
You see that's why it's good to have the South Africans. we bring a good diverse.
I do feel
the whole world, right? Exactly.
I feel like you guys have the optimal time, because for me, like I woke up at 5 a.m. to get a shower this morning to get down.
Dude, that's wild. Yeah,
it's 6:28 for me right now.
We have actually, as I said, like the perfect time zone. That's why I always say to guys that are trading around my time zone, there is more to trade than just US markets. I think the DAX is a great index to trade. In fact, actually, one of my good friends that like lives a couple of minutes down the road from me, he really only trades the DAX and ES, and he kills it, bro. Like makes really good money with prop firms, trading his own cash account. So it's a really nice index to trade. If you are able on my time zone. So if you are tuning in from a non-American type of time zone, where like you can trade both the London session and the New York session, have a look at the DAX. It trades really, really nicely. I would actually say it trades very similar to like an ES and NQ, a little bit of a mixture of both.
Yeah, I've heard it trades very nicely. I heard it's very similar to like a more tame NQ is what I.
It is a more tame. That's a good way to. That's why I'll say like in between. It's a more tame NQ. Correct. Yes. So. Any questions, guys, for the guys in the Discord? For anyone of us here watching on the live stream as well, we got quite a few guys watching here. But again, we're probably going to get M next week Friday on, and then you can watch his live stream here on the Wolf and Edgeful channels afterwards, starting just before the open as well.
Yeah, and I'll even say this: like a lot of like the crew that I trade with. A lot of them like trading the London session just on NQ and ES.
Yeah.
All right. We got a big pop here on these NFP numbers.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. We're up 20 points. Yes.
139. Pretty much came in
there you go.
In line, a little bit above consensus. These are pretty good numbers just on the first glance here.
Have you seen just something interesting that I'm seeing on my charts over here? And if you let's go like this, just something that I'm seeing. Like, look, we're still struggling to take out these highs here from that wick on that news yesterday. You see that to the left over there on the SPX over here.
Yeah.
Like as you said, on that like 6,000 area on SPX where we wicked.
Yeah, exactly. And you almost wonder, I mean, the first time you get to a massive level like that, a huge psychological level, you almost always reject. But when you have uh, a possible, you push back off of it, you have a little bit of a scare. If people kind of give up on that scare, I mean, the market's still bullish. There's so many buyers waiting underneath this market. Every little dip gets eaten alive. You hit a daily 9, you back test. If you even look quickly at the daily, like it's really clear on the Nasdaq. You basically have this huge consolidation that you came back and back tested last night. ES very similar. It was a little bit less on ES, but on the Nasdaq, it's a breakout and back test. And even if you go down smaller, when you look at the SPX, you see we flew right over this line. We're reclaiming into that same area yesterday. Now we moved straight to the top. Can we get out of it? I don't know. That's going to be the main watch for me today. But this could be a very. I could flip a coin. I don't know about you, JB, but I think you could flip a coin today, because I feel like if this gets some type of good news today, it's going to fly and test that high again. I mean, the market is still like trying to just jump to the upside over and over. It just hasn't really had a good reason to do so. And when you see like a bad day like yesterday get eaten back up like this fast, like just they're just eating the dip alive. I mean, that just kind of tells you the enthusiasm of buyers. And we keep saying these bears suck. That's what we keep saying. These bears just suck right now.
No, they do suck. It's you're not getting any follow through. I think that's you got to trade level to level. But yeah, Em, I do need to get on another call. I appreciate you joining as always, guys. I appreciate you joining the pre-market prep. Em, we'll see you streaming in the next bit. But yeah, guys, have a good Friday. And then again, every single Wednesday through to Friday, I'm here 8 a.m. Eastern time for pre-market prep. And as I said, we're going to get Em on Fridays going forward. So yeah, let's have a good trading day and let's end the week off strong. Perfect.
Beautiful. Appreciate you, James. Thanks for having me.
Yes, sir. Cheers, guys.